My name is Dian Mu. I used to be a star, but now I'm a Taoist priestess. Due to financial hardship and at my master's fervent request, I've re-entered the entertainment industry. My first job after returning to the scene was to participate in a very popular psychic reality show abroad. And I was the only contestant from Huaxia. After packing my bags, I boarded a flight to country M. Upon landing, as I passed through security, a customs officer stopped me. "Excuse me, why are you carrying a dog's leg when traveling abroad?" I explained. "This is a black dog's leg. I use it for rituals and worship. I am a Taoist priestess." The interpreter next to the customs officer spoke up. "She's a witch." The customs officer's eyes widened. "What?" The interpreter nodded, pointing at the black dog's leg, and continued. "This is her tool for performing witchcraft." I didn't understand English, but I clearly sensed the customs officer beginning to panic. She frantically gathered my belongings, stamping my visa while profusely apologizing. Although it felt strange, I was too lazy to ask. My English proficiency, after all, didn't allow me to inquire about such complex matters. As I grabbed my luggage and prepared to leave, I heard the customs officer whisper a few words to the interpreter. The interpreter suddenly called out to me. This lady wants me to ask you, does your dog's leg carry a curse?" Her expression was serious, as if asking a very important question. I quickly opened my mouth. "No, no!" Before I could finish, the customs officer's face began to turn to despair. "As it does." Under the customs officer's desperate gaze, I changed into my Taoist robes. She gestured for me to hurry. I was a little suspicious. Didn't Toisikiao say that customs officers in this country were notoriously difficult to deal with? After I left the customs gate, the officer watched my retreating back, her gaze dark and inscrutable. I stepped into the special car the production team had arranged. As soon as I got in, a staff member handed me a pair of glasses. She introduced them, saying they were specialized glasses for live streaming. Wearing these, you can see audience comments in real time, and viewers will watch the live broadcast from your perspective through this. She pointed to a small camera beside the frame. "It's truly high-tech." No wonder it's Country M. It can invent anything. I put on the glasses and comments began to stream in. "This is the first Taoist priestess participating in the psychic battle, isn't she? Why? Is she a woman? Is this first-person perspective so exciting? Moo, we finally see you back." There were so many comments, my eyes felt blurry and dizzy, and I even got a slight headache. The staff member noticed my discomfort and pressed a small button next to the glasses. All the comments immediately vanished. This button can turn off comments. If you find there are too many, you can switch them off. With that, she handed me a translation earpiece. "Good luck in the psychic battle." At that moment, the car stopped at the filming location. This was an abandoned hospital. We all gathered in the large courtyard in front of it. The director from Country M was explaining the rule. As usual, newcomers must pass 2 rounds of spiritual power, psychic ability tests. This time, there are a total of 3 new participants. The Taoist Priestess from Huaxia, that's me. The Onmyoji from Country L, named Masushita Shizuko. and the psychic from country H, Park Cheney. Our first round is to guess the object hidden behind a screen. It's not difficult, just a simple divination game. Masushita Shizuko was the first to step up. She stood next to a wooden box, closed her eyes, muttering. Suddenly, as if her third eye had opened, she snapped them wide, staring at the box. "A wristwatch," she declared. The host opened the box, and indeed, there was a wristwatch inside. At this moment, the comments were frantic. "Oh, wow, 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 our Shizuko is amazing. Ah, that's right, that's right. She even knows what's inside this one." It was a chorus of praise. I found it a bit dazzling and raised my hand to turn off the comments again. The second person to step up was Park Cheney from country H. She confidently stood before another box. She extended her hand, closed her eyes, and began to count on her fingers, seemingly using a form of little Liu-Ren divination, though not entirely identical. "It's a watermelon," she said. The host opened the box. Inside was a slice of watermelon. No need to guess. Comments were once again overflowing with flowery praise. Parkeni turned to look at me, smiling provocatively, mouthing something. It was probably English, but I didn't understand. Yet looking at their attitudes, I felt something was off, though I couldn't quite pinpoint what. It was my turn. I stared at the box, silently thinking of three numbers in my mind. 352. Yisuga. Daan Liu Lian. Iyo signifies red fire element, dry and stiff. Daan signifies green, sour taste, straight and long. Ita sinubuano gubetejat popjimda plow. Liu Lian signifies yellow, slender, messy pie. Without knowing the specific options provided by the production team, how can I make a judgment? As I racked my brain, I suddenly realized what was off about the two previous contestants. After calculating, they directly guessed the item without needing the range of choices provided by the production team. This was absolutely impossible. Even my senior brother, Xiao, couldn't do that. But there was no time to ponder how they managed to guess. The current situation was that I couldn't guess. Time ticked by. Second. On a second, the host began to count down. I reluctantly spoke up. "This item is red." Suxi was at the top. "So this item is very likely red." The host heard this, nodded, and said, "That's right." "And what exactly is the item?" The host did me a chance to breathe, seemingly wanting me to be eliminated in this round. I was about to give up and list the remaining characteristics of the item when something flashed in my mind. Red, slender, straight, messy, along with earthy yellow and green. Unique Huaxia incense, used to worship ancestors. The moment I finished speaking, a flicker of a crack appeared on the host's face. He said nothing, but opened the box. A bundle of incense sticks, some red, some green, appeared inside. "Congratulations. Correct answer." The host's voice was a little uncertain. His teeth gritted, as if he was deeply displeased that I had passed the round. He narrowed his eyes at me for a moment, then spoke each word distinctly. Next, we move on to the next challenge. Guess the creature behind the object. This challenge was also very simple. Find the giant black box containing a live creature among many boxes, and you'd pass the round. Masushita Shitsuko confidently stepped up. She quickly scanned the boxes, swiftly locating the correct one. Kenny did similarly. I felt something was wrong. Their speed was suspiciously fast. Comments, wow, amazing. I said, Sister Shizuko is the best. Oh, look at Dian Mu's face, so funny. She definitely won't dare go up. What kind of amateur Taoist priestess is this? She took ages to guess the item in the last round. Oh, wait, those two were too fast. Exactly. I actually think this Huaxia Taoist priestess looks more genuine. Laughing conto. Laughing. It's all scripted anyway. What's so genuine about it? Just watch for fun. Most comments mocked me. The few skeptical opinions were quickly drowned out. The host looked at me and said, "Next, please welcome the Huaxia contestant, Dian Mu." I quickly scanned the black boxes. None of them contained life energy. There were no living creatures. The host standing next to me was stunned, clearly disbelieving when I said this. He instinctively blurted out, "Impossible." She's clearly inside. I looked at him with a puzzled expression. Clearly, these boxes had no life energy. On the contrary, a deathly aura was leaking from the bottom of the third box. Death energy is cold and sinks. Life energy is warm and rises. The idiom deathly aura hangs heavy describes this very phenomenon. There was no life energy above these boxes, so it could be determined that there were no living creatures. But the third box was leaking death energy, so it was clear there was definitely something dead inside. Comments, "In no way. She couldn't guess, so she's just making things up, right? Used watching for fun. It's obvious. Oh, what kind of garbage sorcerer is this? Achi, get lost. Kate person above isn't from our country. Waxia? He's calling her a sorcerer. What does that have to do with our Taoist priestess Momo? Ah. The host glanced at me, stepped forward, and faced the contestants and camera. We can confirm that a living creature has been placed inside this box. He paused, looking at me, his eyes revealing undisguised excitement. Are you still certain of your answer? I looked at the undeniable death energy in box number 3 and nodded. There's certainly no living creature. I paused, then kindly added, if you put a living creature in box number 3, you'd best open it quickly to check. I fear it's already dead. As soon as these words were spoken, the scene erupted in gasps. The host's expression stiffened, but quickly recovered. You say it's dead, and it's dead. I arranged for a living person to be in there. Hearing his resolute tone, I raised an eyebrow, saying nothing more. At this point, comments were filled with insults. Alia, living person could just die on the spot. Ha, exactly. Exactly. A script with a dead person. Get out. Don't embarrass yourself anymore. Ah. Ghost. Don't humiliate yourself. She's not even worth a hair on Sister Shizuko. Yeah. The production team, seeing that they had achieved the desired effect, reluctantly went to open the box. I watched the death energy in box number 3 grow thicker and silently closed my eyes, afraid that the bloody scene inside would scare me. But in the host's eyes, this scene had a different meaning. What? Afraid you guessed wrong? Don't dare to look. It's still not too late to withdraw now. I said nothing. The smell of blood from box number 3 was already beginning to seep out. Little by little, I was afraid I would vomit the moment I opened my mouth. When the box was opened, a pungent, metallic smell of blood surged into our nostrils, instantly engulfing the entire area. I couldn't hold it in any longer and gagged. My ears were filled with screams. I was forced to open my eyes, but the sight before me stunned me. The person inside the black box knelt upright on the ground. Beneath her was a large pool of blood. Her eyes were tightly shut, her hands clasped together. A steel rod pierced through her palms, pinning her hands together as if she were kneeling in devout worship of something. I looked up her body. That face was terrifyingly familiar. "It's the customs officer!" I cried out, throwing my arms around the person next to me, burying my face in their arms. "The customs officer!" The person next to me was startled by my action. He was about to say something when suddenly the entire sky darkened, as if covered by some colossal object. No, not as if it was covered. The entire area above the hospital was enveloped by an unknown black mass, but if you looked closely, you'd see it was a swarm of black insects. The person next to me pulled me away from him. Only then did I clearly see that it was the host. The scene was chaotic. Countless national languages rang in my ears, some cursing, some chanting spells for deliverance. The translation earpiece was utterly useless. I fearfully gripped the host's arm. After all, he seemed calmer than anyone else. What do we do? What do we do? How can someone be dead? Do your country's variety shows really go this far? My voice was mixed with sobs, my hand shaking the host's arm incessantly. I want to go home. I want my master. I want my senior brothers Yuruo and Jukayo. This cursed place is terrifying. The host yanked his arm free, looked at the panicking crowd, let out a cold laugh, grabbed the microphone and said, "Everyone, calm down a bit." Unfortunately, no one listened to him. The host increased his volume. "Everyone!" The moment he finished speaking, a foul-smelling shoe flew out of nowhere. I fearfully dodged to the side. The shoe solidly smacked the host in the face. He flew into a rage, pointing the microphone at the loudspeaker. The loudspeaker immediately emitted a piercing shriek. Everyone instinctively covered their ears. The host contentedly lowered the microphone. "First and foremost, I'm delighted you could all participate in the final episode of the psychic battle. This mission is incredibly simple." The host looked at us, a faint smile playing on his lips. "Within 48 hours, using your abilities, you must uncover the truth behind this person's death, right here in this hospital. And the sole survivor will be the ultimate winner." As he finished speaking, everyone began to murmur. The host's tone changed. "What? Scared already? He scanned us, his gaze finally resting on me. Innocent Taoist priestess from Hoxia, I hope to see you walk out alive. This statement completely confused me. I was about to open my mouth to ask, when the host suddenly threw what he was holding onto the ground. A large cloud of smoke erupted, and he simply vanished on the spot. Comments. Huh? The host just disappeared spectacularly. What's going on? Why is this episode different from previous ones? Where's the mission? Where are the guests? Kahangit, what's happening? Is someone really dead? No wonder it's country M. They can broadcast this too. That's not right. I can't find this hospital on the map anymore. What? The person above is talking nonsense. My school is right near this hospital. The hospital is still there, but no one's inside. What's going on? I've been to this hospital too. This hospital is so dilapidated, it doesn't even have doors anymore. Ilia, Intelnat, Litanan, Idea, says, Alita Tiun, Papatka. Call the police. Something's wrong. I turned on the comments. Lines of information flashed before my eyes. Luckily, this group of netizens wasn't just talkative. They were also idle. They actually went to the filming location. Based on their messages, I guessed we were trapped in a field. A special ability of psychics. It's somewhat similar to a barrier, but different in that a field isn't entirely isolated from the outside world. Communication tools and even smells can still circulate outside. If the person trapped in the field has stronger spiritual power than the psychic who created it, they can even hear sounds from outside and communicate with the outside world. After analyzing all this, I turned off the comments. Someone had said they came here earlier, but I hadn't heard any sounds at all. This proved that the spiritual power of the psychic who created the field was definitely higher than mine. The host's disappearance in a puff of smoke was definitely just a trick to obscure the truth. He must have exited through the field's escape route, but due to the unique nature of the field, the exit wasn't fixed. And at this moment, the smell of blood in the air grew thicker. I almost forgot. There was a dead person here too. What do we do now? It was Masushita Shizuko who spoke. She was an onmyoji. Who knew something like this would happen as soon as you arrived? How unlucky. The one who replied was Saria. Her expression clearly showed disgust and dissatisfaction. Saria was a medium from country T. She herself didn't possess psychic abilities, but she owned a family heirloom spirit board that allowed her to communicate with spirits. Enough. Quiet down a bit. Kai from country, he spoke up. He had blonde hair, blue eyes, sharp features, and was a male witch. Male witches used to be very rare. Most people feared female witches and overlooked male witches. In the 18th century, a large number of female witches were hanged, but male witches fortunately escaped. However, the number of male witches was still very small, and I never expected to meet one here. The older woman standing next to Kai appeared much calmer. She silently looked at the corpse, slowly walking closer to examine it more thoroughly. Kai, seeing me looking at her, kindly said, "She's Lillian, rumored to be the wife of Satan. I nodded. Before coming here, I had read their profiles, but only Lillian's made me feel strange. According to the documents, she was a newcomer, originally just a normal housewife. After the death of her youngest daughter, her personality changed drastically, and she gained the ability to communicate with spirits, earning her the moniker Satan's wife. Lillian had now reached the side of the corpse. She closed her eyes, extended her hand, and touched the corpse's head. Beside her, a shadowy figure slowly materialized, resembling a little girl. The shadow seemed to be communicating happily with her through thoughts. I stared at the shadowy little girl. It seemed to sense me too, said something to Lillian, and then immediately vanished. Lillian looked up at me, her eyes filled with disbelief and a hint of pleading. I understood clearly in my heart. Perhaps this was why she suddenly gained psychic abilities. She herself couldn't communicate with spirits, but her daughter, due to her strong attachment to her mother, refused to leave and stayed by her side. Lillian was using some form of spiritual connection with her daughter to achieve her psychic effects. Lillian withdrew her hand and walked straight back to us. As you all can see, we are trapped in this hospital. The host said that as long as we find the truth about this person's death, we can escape. Therefore, we should unite and cooperate. Her voice was soft, but no less powerful. Those who had been anxious and restless gradually quieted down at her words. That's right. Now is the time for us to unite. Masushita Shizuko's eyes lit up. Let's not underestimate the bonds between us. I covered my face. I think I've heard this kind of speech before. What did your daughter tell you? I asked bluntly. Lillian looked at me in surprise. Clearly, she hadn't expected me to be so direct. Comments, what is this Huaxia Taoist Priestess saying? Everyone knows Lillian's daughter died years ago. She's just rubbing salt in her wounds. But person above shouldn't talk nonsense. Mu isn't like that. She must have noticed something. Fan, get lost. Stop trying to whitewash her. Higher person above our Mumu can see. She must have seen something. That's right. Our Mumu can see. I almost forgot. Ellen decisively stopped hiding it. She said in a low voice, my daughter just told me that this person's soul has been extracted. As soon as these words were spoken, the comments immediately exploded. What? Oh, what? What does that mean? So Dian Mu really can see. Or Mumu is a Taoist priestess who can see and capture ghosts. Aren't you surprised? Too many comments appeared. I raised my hand to turn them off again. Soul extracted. I quickly glanced at the corpse, then quickly looked away. All extracted, a peculiar posture. Based on what the host said, she must have been alive before entering the box. But I can't rule out the possibility that the host lied to me. Ha! Should we examine the body? Perhaps there are clues. Masushita Shizuko suggested. I quickly shook my head. No. Why? I honestly replied. I'm scared. Just because I refused to examine it didn't mean others wouldn't. Park Kenny, Kai and Saria had already stepped forward. Oh, wait. Why do people with abilities similar to mine have to examine a corpse? Isn't that a police job? He closed my eyes, sensing. Around us, apart from Lillian's daughter, there really were no other spirits. Moreover, unconsciously, I could clearly feel my yang energy leaking and flowing concentratedly towards the corpse. I instinctively looked towards the corpse. The face of the corpse was clearly that of the customs officer. She knelt there quietly and peacefully, as if voluntarily sacrificing her life. Something still felt wrong. If the deceased was indeed the customs officer, she must have arrived here before me. But why her? There must be a problem. Just as I was deep in thought, unable to solve the puzzle, Park Cheney suddenly cried out in surprise. "What is this?" I looked closely and saw that she had reached into the customs officer's clothes and pulled out a book and a talisman. Even from afar, I could see the red cover of the book. "It's an evil cult." I tried to suppress the fear in my heart, quickly stepped forward, snatched the book, and opened it. The three large characters, "The Path to Eternal Life," assaulted my vision. This was a nightmare from my childhood. A junior brother of my master had gone astray while cultivating Taoism and eventually created the path to eternal life. In this philosophy, humans are born with original sin, so they must die to atone for their sins. But cultivating this path and helping others atone could lead to eternal life and even resurrect those who had atoned for all their sins, granting them eternal life as well. What they called atonement was brainwashing and murder. My master utterly detested this philosophy and loathed this junior brother. So, when I was little, he forced us to read many books about this philosophy and made me memorize their harms, which made me nauseous just seeing this book. I threw the book straight to the ground, saying coldly, "This is an evil cult. Do not read it." Park Cheney was displeased with my action and was about to criticize me, but my glare scared her, and she mumbled, "Why so fierce? It's just a book." I ignored her, turning instead to the spot where the host had disappeared, and shouted, "The truth behind this person's death is that she believed in an evil cult and was murdered by someone else. We have found the truth." After I shouted 3 times, an ethereal voice echoed in my ears. Very good. Since you found the truth, you may immediately proceed to the hospital building. The exit is inside, and the tightly closed door of the abandoned hospital now slowly opened, revealing an endlessly dark void inside, as if ready to swallow people whole. Let's go in quickly. I don't want to stay in this damned place anymore. Saria took 2 steps in one, rushing through the door. Park Cheney followed closely. Lillian and I remained standing still. Kai and Masushita Shizuko beside us were observing our actions. Clearly, the 2 of them had realized that in this group, only Lillian and I could truly communicate directly with spirits. Although Kai was a male witch and Masushita Shizuko was an onmyoji, their spiritual powers were clearly unstable. Moreover, the talisman on the customs officer's corpse had the ability to devour spiritual power, so currently they didn't dare to act rashly and had to follow Lillian and me. "Should we go in?" Masushita Shizuko looked at me. I raised an eyebrow. I still remembered her provocation during the divination round, so I spoke up. "During the spiritual power test, you and Park Cheney overwhelmed me. So why are you asking me if we should go in now?" Masushita Shizuko's expression stiffened at my words, and she took another step towards me. I thought she was going to hit me and instinctively recoiled, but she quickly bowed deeply. I apologize for my previous offenses, Senior. I was stunned, as expected of someone from country El Lu. How quick to apologize. No problem. I looked at Lillian. I don't sense any death energy inside. We can go in and check. Lillian also nodded. My daughter Lena also said, there's no danger inside. Let's go. No. I heard that and looked at her deeply. You and your daughter have such a strong psychic connection. Even across the chest. Your bond must be very deep. Lillian gave a forced smile, saying nothing more. The four of us stepped onto the stairs, opened the door to the hospital's inpatient building, and entered. The moment we stepped inside, the large door immediately slammed shut. Inside, the lights were dim, and the pungent smell of blood filled the air. I took out my phone, about to turn on the flashlight, when Masushita Shizuko screamed. Ah! She startled me. What's going on? Are you summoning spirits? Masushita Shizuko pointed in horror to the middle of the hall. Park Cheney and Saria? They're dead. What? I quickly shone my flashlight over, only to see the two of them kneeling on the ground, facing each other, a colossal steel rod piercing through their backs, pinning them together. They too were in a praying posture, identical to the person outside. The visual shock, combined with the thick, cloying smell of blood, was more than I could bear. I stumbled, gagging. In that moment of retching, I thought, it's over. Master must be watching this live broadcast. Is he going to scold me again? In another place, in a Taoist temple, a middle-aged Taoist priest looked at the live screen, angrily cursing, "Useless! You actually threw up? Don't tell anyone you're my disciple when you go out. So embarrassing, you've completely lost face. What is this?" Kai's voice began to tremble. Didn't we find the truth already? Shouldn't we be able to go back? Lillian stared at the evil cult book on the ground, her voice low. I'm afraid it's not that simple. I finished throwing up, lifted my head, my face pale, and said to Kai, "Male witch, aren't you guys good at brewing potion? Do you have anything I can drink to make me brave? My legs are a bit wobbly now." Kai scratched his head, pulling a bottle from his clothing. "No, but I have this." I took it and looked. Oh, a bottle of strong Chinese liquor, produced in Huaxia. I looked at him, speechless. I looked at him. He sensed my feelings, scratching his head. "Just tell me, does it make you braver?" I took a swig and immediately felt much better, except my face felt a little warm. I walked straight to Park Cheney and Saria, knelt down, and directly pulled the talismans from their chests. On the talismans were their names and birth dates. I closed my eyes, counted on my fingers, and then smiled. Perhaps you believe in the theory of yin-yang and the 5 elements. Earlier, when Park Cheney took the path to eternal life book and the talisman from the customs officer's body, I had seized the opportunity when no one was looking to slip the talisman into my pocket. Originally, I just thought it was an ordinary soul-snatching talisman, But now it seems otherwise. This murderer, I fear, intends to snatch souls to refine elixirs. He's not merely cultivating the path to eternal life for a deluded fantasy of immortality. He wants to become a god. The customs officer's 5 elements attribute was metal. She died in the dark box, her soul forcibly taken. She will never see the light of day again. These two's 5 elements attributes were wood and earth, respectively. They died on the tiled floor of this hospital building. No wood, no earth. Their souls stolen. They will wander forever. If my guess is correct, the next person to die will either drown in water or burn in fire. I called Lillian, Masushita Shizuko, and Kai over and asked for their birth dates. Kai belonged to water, Masushita Shizuko to fire. But Lillian's was a bit strange. Her birth chart was very similar to mine, but while my heavenly stems and earthly branches were all yang, her 4 pillars, though largely yang, had hidden yin energy within the earthly branches. She wasn't a pure yang fate, although she was very close. "Why are you asking for our birth dates?" Lillian asked curiously, but her voice was still a little tense, as if she feared I would discover something. I noted down their birth charts, took out the 3 talismans from the other 3 people, and gave them to Kai and Lillian. "Everyone, look." I pointed to the numbers on them. "These talismans also have names." Ha ha! Quite cunning. Although I knew these 2 were my teammates, they weren't from my country and I didn't know them. What if they had ill intentions? What if they wanted to kill me to save themselves? So, I decided to play a little naive. Lillian saw me like this and pouted, speechless. Kai also rubbed his eyes and sighed in relief. "So, what do we do next? Where do we go? And what about these 2? Just leave them here to die?" Kai truly lived up to his country our reputation, speaking so casually, exuding a relaxed vibe. My teammates had just died violently right in front of us, and his first reaction was to ask about getting out. I really want to cry. Waxia doesn't have Kimen Dunjia techniques. Saria interjected. "Just invite the Grand Supreme Elder Lord to open the door for us. Wouldn't that solve everything?" The 2 of them looked at me, eyes sparkling like stars. I remained silent. "Wait, Master never told me that invoking the Grand Supreme Elder Lord could open doors." Masushita Shizuko, beside me, saw my weakness. What good would opening the door do? There's still another dead person outside in the courtyard. Her words, though crude, held undeniable truth. Right now, the few of us were completely helpless. Their abilities were basically psychic communication. Apart from being able to talk to spirits, they had no other use. Masushita Shizuko might be a little better, capable of simple exorcisms. But the problem was, there were no spirits here, no ghosts, just 4 living people about to die and 3 utterly dead. Fear, combined with the smell of blood, made me feel desperate. I am a Taoist priestess, yes, but the current situation made me feel profoundly helpless. The spiritual power of the person who created the field, trapping us, was higher than mine. And the souls of the deceased had also been extracted. Even knowing that the few of us were sacrifices, I had no solution. He missed my master so much. I want to go home. Hoping to see some Hoxia messages, I opened the comments again. "You says Dian Mu. "Find their souls right here in this hospital." Hey. A comment quickly flashed by. I didn't get a clear look. Immediately, countless other comments began to flood the screen. "Dian Mu, find the souls right here in the hospital." "You Ruo said it." "Oh, Mu, don't be scared. We'll always be with you." "Oh, Mu, don't be scared. I'm studying abroad, here." "We've already called the police." "I'm at the hospital. I'm right next to you." "I'll call someone right away." "Ni, Grandpa is also a Taoist priest." Each line of comments seemed to inject courage into me. My fear instantly dissipated quite a bit. I stood up, facing the corpses of Pak Cheni and Saria. To find their souls, I'd need to collect their hair and fingertip blood. As my eyes met the two corpses, I immediately shrank back. No, I'm still scared. I turned my head to Kai. I turned my head to Kay. He had clearly also seen the comments and was looking at me. Their souls are in this hospital. Finding them might reveal everything. I finished speaking, looking at him resolutely. You cut a lock of their hair and get their fingertip blood. I'll handle the rest. Kai, why don't you go? I raised my slightly trembling hands. Because I'm scared of ghosts, scared of corpses. After I roared at him, Kai obediently got the things I need. Honestly, I was speechless. He was supposed to reap the benefits of our shared triumph. Yet he was still so disorganized. I placed the two items on the ground, took out the compass, a box of glutinous rice, and the white Huanfu talisman from my bag. After drawing the soul-tracking talisman, I wrapped the items on the ground and the glutinous rice within the talisman and chanted the spell. Fire flared, and the talisman burned immediately, turning into ashes. I collected the ashes and sprinkled them on the compass, bowing my head, my left hand quickly drawing a talisman above the compass. 3 souls and 7 spirits heed my command. By the swift decree of law, thunder and lightning appear. The golden compass spun rapidly, finally stopping at the Kun position southwest. Kun position southwest. Let's go. I called the others to follow me towards the southwest. But the strange thing was, as I changed direction, the golden compass also kept changing. This indicated that the souls' positions were moving, and souls that have been extracted, unless moved by someone else, rarely float around on their own with such large movements. At this moment, the golden compass pointed at my own position, the Gen position, northeast, but the souls couldn't be on me. Suddenly, I thought of something and immediately spun around on the spot. Masushita Shitsuko behind me was startled. "No, intensite. And the morning now, I'll yarn, can't saw. What's wrong?" I said in a low voice, "Get behind me." She didn't understand, but still obediently moved behind me. The golden compass was still in the Jing position. I looked up at the 2 people in front of me. Lillian and Kai. "What's wrong?" Lillian asked me in a gentle voice. Her voice was clearly gentle, yet for some reason, it filled me with an inexplicable dread. I suddenly remembered my master's nagging words. Although Dian Mu is timid, she values her life. When a person who values their life is threatened, their body instinctively makes a judgment. I swallowed, trying to suppress the fear in my body. Lillian, you also get behind me. Lillian smiled softly. All right. As Lillian moved, the golden compass also slowly shifted. My heart turned cold. It's over. I can't beat her. Lillian was nearly 1.8 meters tall, and her weight looked at least double mine. Not fat, but robust. Looking back at Masushita, Shizuko, and Kai, one was 1.6 meters, and the other was thin. The three of us combined wouldn't be enough. Lillian is tough. And we're still live. Streaming. Master had a rule. No using magical artifacts in public. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. Just as Lillian was about to approach Masushita Shizuko, I turned around and suddenly saw her pull a sharp steel rod from under her skirt. Watch out! Masushita Shizuko truly lived up to being an onmyoji. She reacted incredibly fast and dodged to the side. We were still live streaming. I absolutely hadn't expected Lillian to dare to commit violence under the eyes of so many people. Although the laws of Country M weren't strict, carrying a deadly weapon to kill was still a crime and would land her in jail. After Masushita Shizuko dodged, Lillian glared at me furiously. I knew you'd mess up my plans. I should have eliminated you in the very first round. She wanted to cry, but no tears came. Hey, big sis, you should have said so earlier. If you told me you were here to kill people, I wouldn't have come. Lillian saw that Masushita Shizuko was too agile, so she lunged towards Kai. Kai's eyes widened, and he turned his back, running towards me. Damn it, you ungrateful wretch. I quickly ran away. Masushita Shizuko handed me a small knife. Take this. I was a little touched. What about you? She then pulled out an even larger cleaver from behind her back. I use this. I'm good. The three of us were successively defeated by Lillian, eventually tied hand and foot, and thrown beside the corpses of Park Chenny and Saria. Lillian stood before me, the steel rod in her hand. Now, she contentedly checked our birth charts. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, pure yang, pure yin, all accounted for. She released the souls of Park Chenny, Saria, and the customs officer. You are truly fortunate to become the stepping stones for a deity. Lillian picked up the path to eternal life book, her emotions surging. I emitted a weak voice from below. Not metal, wood, water, fire, earth. Lillian looked at me. It's wood, fire, earth, metal, water. It must follow the cycle of mutual generation and destruction. Lillian frowned. She squeezed my neck. Her eyes narrowed. Are you doubting a god? Masushita Shizuko quickly spoke up. No, she's just reacting subconsciously. I pulled Masushita Shizuko closer and continued. We're all wearing live stream glasses. Do you dare kill me in front of so many people? Even if you have all the elements, what if it fails? You'll spend your life in prison if you get out. Lillian heard this and threw her head back, laughing loudly. Haven't you noticed you can't see comments anymore? The moment those comments started talking about finding souls, I cut the signal source. So, that was the signal source. I thought it was a bomb. I had started to suspect when there were no comments, but wasn't sure. The network has been cut for a long time. No one can see anything. I heard that and smiled faintly. Well, damn it. Why didn't you say so earlier? I quickly chanted the fire incantation to burn the ropes binding my hands and feet, then touched the thunderstruck lightning wood bracelet on my wrist. I roared, "Thunder Lord, aid me!" "Five thunders, heed my command. By the swift decree of law, lightning, appear." A colossal bolt of lightning erupted from the ceiling, striking Lillian directly. She was completely unable to dodge. The Five Thunder Edict, empowered by a pure Yang fate, guaranteed her death. The lightning struck the ground, creating a large cloud of smoke. A shadowy figure shielded Lillian. It was Lillian's daughter, Lina Tot. Lina didn't even have time to utter a sound before her soul was scattered and dispersed. Lillian froze on the spot. With the dissipation of the shadow, the air around us began to distort and crack. It seems the field was created by Lina. No wonder its spiritual energy was higher than mine. And the field broken. We returned to the original space. It was already packed with people. The police had cordoned off the area. The worried fans were all outside. When they saw us, they were in tears. "Mu, you scared me to death. It's so dark in here, and you're so timid. You must have been terrified. We were afraid you'd be so scared you'd wet yourself. So we specifically brought you a change of clothes." My native language was speechless. Come on, it wasn't that bad. Lillian admitted her actions, perhaps due to being agitated. Even as she was being handcuffed, she kept screaming that she was a god. I walked up to her and whispered, "I fear your daughter's fate was a pure yin fate, wasn't it? Protecting someone completely unharmed under my Five Thunder Edict is almost impossible. Unless that person's fate is as strong as mine." Lillian heard my words, and her expression cleared for a fleeting moment, but quickly reverted to madness. I am a god." I stared at her and continued, "How did Park Cheney and Sariya die?" Lillian didn't answer directly, only clapped her hands and said, "Lina's field. Lina is good." I silently looked at her. I almost forgot that a spirit that creates a field can possess entities within that field. I'm afraid they were all killed by Lina. But why did Lillian still claim she did it? I shook my head, unable to understand. I don't know. I was about to leave when I accidentally saw a familiar face in the crowd. "It's the customs officer. Wasn't she dead?" I quickly walked over. She also stood waiting for me. "Thank you for helping me avenge my sister." Her voice choked. "Unfortunately, my sister still died." What is this? I feel like my CPU is about to explode. The customs officer saw the doubt in my eyes. "My sister went missing after participating in the psychic battle audition. I searched everywhere, but couldn't find her. I accidentally overheard that host talking about a god creation plan, a pure Yang fate woman, and even mentioned Taoist magic. So, after meeting you and realizing you were a Taoist priestess, I immediately let you through customs. I felt you could help me find my sister. Great, just great. This world is one giant pit of deception. I knew there was something off about that country, customs officer being so lenient. As I was leaving the scene, I met Masushita Shizuko and asked her the question I had always wanted to know. In the first round, how did you guess the object and the creature so quickly? What algorithms did you use? Teach me. Masushita Shizuko chuckled. The production team told me through the translation earpiece. She finished speaking and left, leaving me bewildered in the wind. The world where only Dian Mu is hurt has been established. I told you. No one could know the answer so quickly without knowing the range of options. It wasn't that I was slow. They were cheating. I'm furious. I should have turned on the live stream and asked them. After everything ended, the psychic battle production team vanished as if evaporated from the world. However, luckily, their appearance fees were paid immediately after the first round, so it didn't greatly affect me. On my way back to Hoaxia, I unexpectedly met the host. He clearly saw me too, and said something that sent shivers down my spine. We should have eliminated you in the very first round. It was exactly what Lillian had said. I thought of the God creation plan the customs officer had mentioned, so I smiled faintly. How could you bear to eliminate? After all, a woman with a pure yang fate isn't easy to find. The host heard this, was momentarily stunned, then smiled and waved at me, walking towards the boarding gate. I had always thought that pure yang fate wasn't actually rare. My master also had a pure yang fate, so why me? But the moment the customs officer mentioned the God creation plan, I understood. The God, the production team, wanted to create, I feared, wasn't Lillian, but me. According to their plan, they would select 5 spiritual power holders through Bazi, each with a 5 elements attribute. Then they'd find a girl with a pure yang fate and a girl with a pure yin fate. It didn't necessarily have to be girls, just that the 2 genders matched. Coincidentally, they discovered Lillian and her daughter. The production team didn't fully understand Bazi, mistaking Lillian's Bazi for pure yang, so they brainwashed her. After Lena's death, her soul remained dependent on Lillian and stayed by her side. Whether Lillian died by accident or not, I don't know, but I'm certain Lillian knew the truth. However, the brainwashing and the production team's promise of godhood made her conceal it. But then, the production team discovered that Lillian's Bazi wasn't pure yang, so they chose me. What followed was the dramatic confrontation between the 2 sides. Although Lillian's Bazi wasn't pure yang, Lena's pure yin soul was clearly more willing to accept her. So, when Lena struck first and killed people, the production team didn't stop her. They just wanted to see if a god could be created. If so, they would have created a god and would stand above even a god. Unfortunately, in their countless calculations, they never expected you, Ruo, to alert me through the comments. After they deleted the comments, they also didn't expect so many netizens to help me. This ultimately led to the failure of the God creation plan and saved 3 lives. But I'm also quite curious. Will the God created with so many lives truly be a righteous God? And what kind of Taoist magic did my Grandmaster, who wrote the path to eternal life, truly cultivate?